Well, that concerning situation I talked about last week came true. The Ducks have hired Joel Quenneville as their 12th head coach in team history. I want to start by saying everything I'm sharing here is rooted in my own thoughts and emotions, shaped by both current and past reports. You don't have to agree with me. You're absolutely entitled to your own opinions and conclusions, but please be respectful to me and others in the comments. Verbeek's wide net didn't cast very far, it seems, as he ended up hiring a former teammate and friend. The old boys club continues on, and Verbeek claiming he didn't have a certain coach in mind when he fired Cronin feels like a lie now, especially after Q's comments on the Duckstream podcast and in the presser. That groundwork seemed like it started in January when the Ducks played the Lightning, although Q says he was there to see John Cooper. But that's just me. Q was the first person Verbeek interviewed. Honestly, this felt like a foregone conclusion from the moment the first reports dropped last week. All the chatter and speculation about why it's taken so long and how it should have already happened has a pretty simple explanation. The Ducks waited until the Select a Seat event on Sunday, the event that helps sell season tickets and gets current holders to renew and sign that dotted line. I took the people working at their event at their word that they didn't think the Ducks would hire Quenneville based on the backlash from fans. Now, whether that's what they generally believed or just what they were told to say is another story. But either way, I feel lied to and a bit betrayed right now. As it is, I'm locked into next season, so that means the Ducks have a year to prove their words aren't just that, words. They made some hefty promises. Now, we have to hold them accountable to those promises. Anything less, and I will not be here next season. You already know how I feel about this situation. I made almost a 10-minute video about it. But judging by some of the comments, a lot of people didn't make it to the part where I talked about second chances. I said I do believe in second chances. It's up to the Ducks to provide full transparency why Quenneville deserves one. And for the most part, the press conference helped with that, at least for me. Credit to the Ducks, they handled this much better than I expected them to. There are still things I'd like more clarity on, but also I understand that some matters have to remain private due to the severity of the situation, and probably even legal limitations. There's still a pending lawsuit involving another former Blackhawks player, and Quenneville's past evaluation of Brad Aldridge, which was reportedly positive, allowed Aldridge to get another job where he later was convicted of assaulting a teenage boy. There are also conflicting reports of how much Q actually knew. The Ducks' stance is that Q wasn't fully aware of what transpired, but the report and players say otherwise. There is a lot of gray area, and it's a really messy situation. These topics weren't brought up at all, and were completely swept under the rug, and I sincerely hope we get answers. That silence still casts a dark cloud over this hire for me. That said, I did feel better about Q after the press conference. He seemed remorseful, and his tone was much different from the apology he gave on the Cam and Strip podcast a year ago. I don't feel better about Verbeek or the Samuelis, but I'll get to that. For now, Quenneville seems sincere, and that matters. He took full accountability, even if it was through a written statement, which I don't really know if he really wrote, but his responses to the questions felt heartfelt and meaningful. He didn't blame others or say, I don't know. But for all the talk of change character or learn lessons, there has to be a plan of action to demonstrate those changes and lessons. As a coach, Quenneville says he'll have an open-door policy with his players, and Samuel always said that it has been made a top priority for Verbeek and Quenneville that the Ducks will be the safest team in the league when it comes to these type of issues. In terms of community, Verbeek shared that he and Quenneville plan to reach out to local advocacy groups for survivors of sexual assault and abuse. Samuel confirmed this, adding that his family and foundation have existing connections to help make that happen, and it will. It's a welcome shift from the Cronin era, a step toward truly embracing Orange Country. Throughout his tenure, Verbeek has preached a culture of accountability, and that same standard must apply here. That means we need to see public, visible efforts, not just words. There should be regular updates, ongoing community work, and transparency behind the scenes. Verbeek, Quenneville, the Samuelis, and the Ducks don't get a gold star just for saying the right things. The real work starts now, and the actions have to follow. I mentioned that I don't feel better about Verbeek and the Samuelis. They both took a hit in my eyes. Let's not forget, Verbeek basically got this job because of this scandal to begin with. When the lawsuit came out, the NHL sent out an abuse memo to teams. That memo ultimately got Murray fired. So we've gone from toxic, alcoholic Bob Murray to at the very least a hard-ass in Pat Verbeek, who brought in Cronin with his own locker room issues, to now a full-blown PR nightmare with Joel Quenneville. The Ducks sure aren't making it easy on themselves. In the presser, Verbeek came across as nervous and defensive, and rightfully so. He knows his job, and probably his entire career as a GM, is on the line with this hire. From what was said, it sounds like he and a small group of executives handled the comprehensive review process themselves. If that's the case, and he seriously was considering hiring a friend, which obviously he was, then someone else should have led the review process. When we're close to people, it's easy to overlook things, even unintentionally. The review part still feels too vague, and I'd like more clarity on it. How do we really know that they did their due diligence? That said, I'll admit, based on the number of leaks and reports surrounding this coaching search, I do believe Verbeek to a degree. Normally nothing or very little gets out from this front office, but this time we knew quite a bit. That could suggest a more involved process, more people in the room, which naturally makes leaks harder to contain. Or of course, it could have been a calculated leak to shape the narrative. We'll never really know. Which brings me to the Samuelis. They've talked about doing their due diligence, but from comments, it seems like Beaker was the one relaying the information to them. And again, he was trying to hire a friend. Of course he's going to present him in the best possible light. The Samuelis are known to be hands-off owners who trust hockey operations, which is good most of the time. But this should have been a case where they step in and got more directly involved. Again, we don't know the full extent of their role, but based on their comments, they sounded more like passengers than decision makers. Don't get me wrong, I respect everything they do for the community and the investment they're putting into Ponda and the surrounding area, but they allowed this to happen, and the fact that I even have to think about the morality of it all when sports are supposed to be an escape is exhausting. They hope winning will make this go all away, and it probably will. They clearly believe Q is the guy to make that happen. The only reason you make this hire. From a hockey standpoint, there is no question Q is a better coach than Cronin. Even ask Cronin. Oh wait, NHL Network already did that. I do believe the Ducks will be better under Quenneville than they have been in years. Most of the grunt work has already been laid. Apparently he has a 2-year deal with an option or just a straight 3-year deal, according to Elliot Friedman. Based on player comments and social media, it seems like the guys are on board. And that's important. You need buy-in from players to compete in this league. Quenneville will also have every tool available. The Samuelis said Verbeek will no longer be constrained by budget. So that basically confirmed the long-rumored internal cap, huh? But what about last year, when Verbeek tried to overpay aging vets? That didn't feel very penny-pinching. And those deals would have been stupid contracts, Henry, so you might want to look at that, considering you said you were not going to write stupid checks. I was going to focus on more of the hockey side of things in this video, but I clearly had more to say emotionally than I expected. That breakdown will come in a future video, I swear, but based on what was said about the team's style of play, I have concerns. Verbeek again mentioned he wants the Ducks to become a puck possession team, but this team isn't built for that. It's built to be a rush team. Even Cronin knew that. So it's up to Verbeek to actually build that team he so desperately wants. Also, can I just say, from an optics standpoint, hiring Quenneville while the Hockey Canada 2018 sexual assault trial is happening is awful timing. I guess they figured the optics were already bad, so what's one more hit? But this is hockey culture. It's nothing new, and that's exactly the problem. It needs to change. Again, these are my emotions and thoughts. You may feel differently, but the truth is, it hurts. It hurts that the team I love, the one I invested so much time, energy, and money into, has made me feel this way. It's going to be a process moving forward. Let me know your thoughts down below. Be respectful. Everyone will have different reactions to this. Thank you to our members. If you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe. And thank you for watching.